Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chasing a Murder. And today we are on part 170 of Life Beyond the Grave, the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell story. In September of 2019, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, like buying burner phones. Alex, Chad, and Lori have all purchased burner phones. Here's the thing. Before the kids are even missing, they're making plans, attempting to outsmart investigators. Lori makes a fatal mistake and she connects her iCloud to her burner phone account. And that is where investigators will collect a lot of their evidence in this case. It makes it hard for both Lori and Chad to deny these horrible plans in this case. But the cherry on top is where investigators use Alex Cox's GPS information from his phone. Thank you, Alex Cox. Even so, Alex Cox misleads investigators by using his burner phone to guide them to odd locations and dead ends. I think one example of that, they said that they led him to like a desert area. We're learning that these three translated beings, they must have had time to plan these evil deeds. And most likely, where do they plan them? At the temple or in private homes. Why the temple? Well, the temple is where Mormons do their ordinances, like things, the baptism for the dead, marriage ceremonies. Only a select amount of people can go into the temple, so it's perfect. Now, a fact I need to share with you is the fact that Special Agent Wright plays a huge role in getting a lot of information in this case. He testified in trial that Alex Cox would be on Chad Daybell's property September 3rd, September 6th, September 9th, a few other dates along, I think it's also September 25th. What's interesting is Alex Cox doesn't mind being at Lori and Chad's beck and call. It seems Alex Cox will do anything for this crazy couple. Importantly, does Alex Cox truly believe that he's a protective angel sent here to Earth from another lifetime to help Lori in her mission here in this lifetime from another lifetime? Or does he enjoy being dominated by his sister, the translated being, and her boyfriend? Sort of a quasi-believer, because Lori's using her powers to find her brother a perfect lover. Remember Zulema? Well, she is Latin, and if you remember, Alex Cox spent a lot of his extra time and extra money chasing Latin women in Colombia. So Lori knows what her brother likes, and she's going to help him achieve his romantic goals. So Zulema Palestines is from Chile. She's Latin. Did you ever think that possibly Lori targeted Zulema to control her brother Alex? There's two reasons that they could use Zulema, either for a reward for Alex or to make money in the future. Maybe it's both. Maybe it is her reward for the loyalty to her. Let's talk about Lori's personality and her characteristics. We learned that Lori always has a plan. It seems that Lori is always scheming in her life to get what she wants. Her impatience is her weakness. It's this planner personality that says that she knows exactly why she does what she does and what she does. Again, you can say that she's always planning or scheming, or just to put it in a nutshell, she's a strategist. In her mind, maybe she believes that she's the only one that's brilliant enough to be the tactician in this entire group. We have learned that Lori is brazen, assertive, demanding, and knows how to please someone to get what she wants. Again, this makes us wonder, does she believe in any of these religious teachings that she is teaching to the group? Or is this an opportunity to gain something? Many people have tried to figure out what is driving her: lust, power, or her own little community that will be at her beck and call. After going over all those personality traits. Does this make her a pragmatic killer? You really think about it, the murders in this case are not committed for the usual reasons that we hear about in everyday serial killer stories and domestic violence in general. Lori's targeted victims in this case seem to be a way to control, Lori's freedom, her success. These are all calculated. They're targeted selections, and none of it has anything to do with her emotional connections or her personal connections. If the victims are not targeted for being obstacles, they are targeted for financial gain, reputation, or just basically eliminating the threat. Who has the most obstacles in their life? Well, it seems to be Lori Vallow. She has these threats on every corner. So based on that, if she had not been arrested, there may have been a lot more deaths in the future. I've even considered that some of these deaths might have been an attempt to cover up another crime. If you remember, both Tylee and JJ were kind of witnesses, possibly, to what happened to Charles Vallow. Another thing that has come to mind is their need for social control. Hence, this leads us to their ranking system. So, in my opinion, the ranking system was an attempt to control everyone around both Chad and Lori. Now, I know I talk about Lori a lot, but I understand Lori completely. As for Chad, if not anything else, he is a manipulator in every way. But unlike Lori, his goals were a little bit smaller. The only things that really meant anything to him was his ability to control others with the help from the spiritual world. He wanted to be admired for his gifts, trusted. He wanted to be a safety net. And he wanted to feel desired by women, all women. I'm not certain if Chad planned to be placed in this category of multicide, especially as he grew up, much less this pragmatic, visionary murderer driven by lust. We just don't understand how Chad got here. He and Lori would try to justify these deaths by claiming that the person is possessed by dark entities or demons, sometimes referring to them as Cain's descendants. Sadly, for each person in this group following this cult path, they also had their own desires and thoughts mixed in with Lori and Chad's religious delusion. They contribute their gifts, such as controlling the elements like fire and water, and earthly destructions, such as earthquakes. Let's not forget they even mixed dragons, witch magic, divination, medium works, energy healing, and astral projection, and threw it into the mix. The numbers and growth of this cult begin to slow down when Lori becomes threatened by women she leads. Lori believes that she is a chosen woman / goddess sent to this earth to lead women in this mission. It appears that Lori truly believed that she was the first LDS woman prophet. See, men are the main leaders and they are always the prophets in Mormonism. This makes Lori incredibly special. Now that we know who Lori is, let's get back into the timeline. September 20 and 21st. Lori feels basically overwhelmed with being a mother. Some of Lori's main goals at this point in her life is to gain freedom and to get rid of all the obstacles in her life. Evidence shows that Chad and Alex helped Lori get rid of her bratty daughter, Tylee, and they did so in the most evil way. They used the excuse that zombies had taken over the children's bodies. And now they're focused on J.J. Vallow. They say that J.J. is no longer alive and that a demon is the one driving J.J. If J.J.'s spirit isn't in his body, then where is his spirit? Well, it's in spirit heaven, according to Chad and Lori. The only way that they can save J.J. is for his body to die. And this is how they will justify murder. They will tell the people surrounding them that they are trying to save their loved ones and release their spirits that are imprisoned. Release their bodies from this darkness, this evil. There is no other way. Melanie Gibb's there for the weekend, and then her boyfriend, David Warwick, the visionary, shows up and spends the rest of the weekend with Lori, Chad, and Melanie as well. According to David and Melanie, they did spend some time at the Firm Foundation Saturday, September 21st. It was supposedly a 10-hour event. Now we learn that Lori and Melanie were chatting about sending JJ to live with his grandmother, Kay Woodcock. But investigators said when they investigated this case, they found no evidence suggesting that happened.
Have we had visitors?
Yes.
Who were those visitors?
Melanie Gibb and David Warwick.
Okay. And did you find any evidence whatsoever that JJ's grandparents had been in Rexburg September 21st, 22nd, or 23rd?
No.
But that wasn't the only concern for Melanie Gibb and David Warwick. Melanie said that she was concerned after walking the track with Lori and Chad. She's seen them kissing and holding hands. She asked them, aren't they worried about Tammy finding out? They said they weren't worried about that because Tammy never goes to that side of town. At some point, Chad had spoken with David Warwick about looking at property. And a testimony with the real estate agent that Chad Daybell knew. He confirmed yes.
I'm a real estate broker in Southeast Idaho for Ron Arnold Realty.
Okay. And that weekend of September 21st of 2019, were you asked to do a real estate showing?
Yes.
Who asked you to do a real estate showing?
Chad.
Where was that real estate showing?
It was on 1800 East and about 190 North.
And that's near Salem or in Salem?
Yes. Yep.
And did you end up doing that showing for Mr. Daybell?
Yes.
Who, if anyone, came with Mr. Daybell to that showing?
I picked him up at his home and we met people there.
Who was there?
So you are learning who Ron Arnold is. He's a realtor in the nearby area. Chad Daybell asked him to meet with him and some people that he knew. Most likely, that's David and Melanie Gibb. Before we move any further, I want to highlight something in this story for you. It is attached to one of Lori Vallow's motives, at least I believe. You know, Chad Daybell wrote books. He was a publisher. Melanie Gibb wrote a book. David Warwick, well, he didn't necessarily write a book, but he wrote down a long list of his visionary dreams and also predictions. And they all had a connection to preparing the people because they had something to speak about. Well, this is what Lori wants. She wants to become an author, stat. And who is the most perfect person to help her reach that book writing goal? No other than her lover, Chad Daybell. Here's a fact many of you might not know, that Lori Vallow years ago had an interest in writing a book, but it was with a reason unknown. It had something to do with women working together and women growing power. I had found that, 5 years ago, and I can't find it again, the internet is so saturated with ads for other people selling books who are writing on this case. By the way, this is a free podcast audio type book combination that is free. If you're using this in order to write a book, well, just keep me in mind. All I want is a $500,000 RV. That's all. No problem. All right, but seriously, guys, she had an interest in writing books. She had also had an interest of being part of a powerful group of women with an agenda, of course, so keep that in mind. Lori doesn't keep women friends long, so that's understandable as to why most of these ideas or agendas failed. Also, let's talk about the fact that Melenie, Gibb, and David Warwick didn't know Lori's true history or background. If you look at it from this perspective, maybe you might see something you didn't before. So, Lori's history of destroying her exes, wiping their banks clean, and leaving them to die as a hollow shell of who they once were, something we've talked about before, but we need that reminder. See, Melanie and David didn't understand the danger her children or anyone around her were in, especially for those who didn't agree with her outlook or her ideas. I've learned that she is like a black widow sitting silently in the center of her web, waiting to take down the next person who disturbed her web. And guess what? Melanie, David, and Chad are now in Lori's web. They are about to disturb that web, creating a dangerous environment not just for them, but for everyone else. So, refusing to acknowledge their godly powers or their lies will actually start pulling on the threads of that web, alerting the Black Widow for her to ready her fangs. Where we're going to pick up this weekend on the next upload is David and Melanie stay with Lori. David mentioned he saw Chad multiple times, but he didn't stay long. Chad was careful not to alert his wife Tammy of his secret rendezvous with his goddess lover. Over the course of the weekend, David said he did see JJ. On the next upload, we're going to hear maybe some information you never heard before, especially on JJ that weekend. So make sure to catch the next upload. Make sure that you like, subscribe. Don't forget to share your ideas in the comments of what you believe these people are doing or what's happening in this timeline. And guys, we have 20% of the people watching this video not subscribed, so look for that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. Do not forget about our missing girls out there, those that have stalled cases, people like Dulce. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys soon.